At the beginning of the episode, we see our main character in a very struggling state, saying that humans are like this by nature. Humans always do things they should never do, and that's exactly what happened in my case. I had no idea that the job my co-worker recommended would prove so unfortunate for me. Then, we're shown our flashback. We learn that the main character is a doctor. We learn that his co-worker recommends a job for him. He tells him, "You're traveling so much here, it's better to move there. You'll gain experience there, and you can come with me." The main character tells us that working with him was very bad from the beginning, and he was never a good fit for me. Our main character is furiously refusing to volunteer with him, but his co-worker forces him to go there anyway. Then, we see that a civil war has broken out where our main character is. Many people are injured, and our main character, a doctor, is helping them. The situation has worsened, and the main character is saying to himself, "Despite the situation, as a doctor, I did my best." Our main character is named Gene. We see Gene treating his patients in a tense situation, and supplies are severely scarce. Just then, the army arrives. We see all the rebels arrive. Gene has a child with him, and someone else is pointing a gun at him. Just as the shots are about to be fired, Gene steps in and takes all the shots. He says to himself, "I did the best I could. I did that." But his last words as he dies are, "I'm a doctor, and a doctor's responsibility is to save their patients." He realizes his pain. Suddenly, something like a soul emerges from his body, and while he's thinking, he awakens to another world. He sees that he is in a forest, and is lying down and his eyes open. He says that, "Why am I lying here?" He looks at his hands and realizes that they're the hands of a child, and then suddenly he gets up and says that, "I was dead, but where have I suddenly come to, and why am I in the body of a child?" When he is looking around him, he sees many people there in such injured condition, and it seems as if someone's convoy has been attacked here. He says that this is not a movie set. The blood here is very real blood. Then he looks at the dead bodies type there. He approaches and sees that these people have been stabbed with a sword, and their bodies are riddled with numerous cuts. He says that the wounds are so sharp that it's clear from just looking at them that a skilled swordsman has inflicted them. He observes that all the corpses and dead bodies here don't have bullet marks, but rather sword marks. Furthermore, their clothing is also quite unusual, and when one's character is involved, he realizes that he has moved from the actual world to a marine world. And while he's still realizing this, he looks around and sees a lot of bodies. He says, "This isn't the place where I died, nor is this Korea, and also I'm inside a child's body. I'm not even inside my own body." He says that all the wagons here, the freight train-like ones, are completely empty. There's a high chance someone has stolen something or bandits have attacked these people. Then he comes to a dead body and sees that there's still some life in the body. He gets up and says, "I have to get out of here as quickly as possible before the bandits return. I'm not caught." And just as he's leaving, he hears a voice saying, "Please help me." And as soon as our main character hears this, he sees a man calling out to him, "Kid, take this." He hands him a bundle and says, "Give this to my wife. If I die, there's no one to deliver this to my wife." Meanwhile, a djinn is watching him bleed and says, "I'll try to stop his bleeding." The djinn says, despite his heavy bleeding, he doesn't have much internal damage. He has a very high chance of survival. He's lost a lot of blood, but if I can bandage him, he'll survive. Then he hands over the bundle to his djinn. The djinn opens a bundle and finds a needle inside. He says, "Finally, my work is done. I'll use this thread and needle to save him." The situation isn't conducive to proper hygiene, but I still try my best to save him. Gene tells him, "You'll feel some pain, but you'll have to endure it." Then he starts stretching his wound, and we see Gene finally stitch it up and declares, "You'll be saved." The man completely wounded thanks Gene. Then Gene says, "There's nothing else I could have done. If I had proper equipment, I might have been able to do something, but even that, nothing can be done now." Gene tells him, "I don't believe in heaven, but your pregnant wife is waiting for you at home. You have to live for her. Keep yourself alive until help arrives." Now, after that, we see that Jin has saved 3 people there, meaning we see 3 dead bodies, 3 injured people whom Jin has saved. And then he finally says, "It was very tough. In my last life, I was quite an adult, but in this life, I am in the body of a child. There are many people here who are still breathing, but I did as much as I could. I just had to provide a little emergency first aid. But after that, if no additional help arrives, these people will die." Then he gives emergency medical treatment to as many people as he can save, saying, "I have to try my best because I'm a doctor." He repeats the same statement he made when he was dying in his previous life. "I'm a doctor." He says, "I won't be able to save everyone, but I will definitely treat those who have even the slightest chance of survival." And then, having saved many people, he says, "I can only try my best to save 3 more people. I couldn't do anything more than that. If I had proper medical equipment, I might have been able to do something." Just then, he sees a man holding a piece of cloth, and on the cloth is written, "Loud Dragon Secure Delivery." This means they're a secure delivery group that transports valuables. Gene then asks if these types of delivery groups only appear in Merum Knows. This means this is really Merum World. But if it really is Merum World, and these people are from the security group, then a rescue team should be arriving very soon. Then we see him pick up a sword and, using a stone, start a fire. Finally, he set the place on fire. He says, "It seems the training I received in the army is finally coming to fruition, but this is truly a very difficult task for a small body. I can only do so much with this body." We see him build a tent, set it on fire, and gather all the people he rescued inside, wondering if the rescue team will arrive soon. "I don't even trust the rescue team anymore," he says. says, it will be better for me to leave here and go to the mountains so the situation doesn't get worse for me. But after all, I'm a doctor, and the first priority for a doctor is to ensure no one dies. He says, when I started becoming a doctor, my primary reason was to make a lot of money. I was an orphan, and it was a great honor for me to become a doctor. I had a lot of success, and I dedicated my entire life to saving people. But what was the benefit of that? I got caught up in the Civil War. Why? Because I was doing some volunteer work, and because of that, I got killed. I was just saving the children there. But in the process of saving the children, I died myself. And then he hears some noise from outside, and he says, are those wolves? He says, I wish it was a rescue team, because the rescue team of the Secure Dragon Delivery guys should definitely come. And as soon as he repeats that name once, he says, Cloud Dragon Secure Delivery. Then he realizes that the name sounds familiar. He says, it's from a novel called Supreme Demon King. I've read it. He then sees a group of people approaching, and he grabs a sword to defend himself, wondering if it's a rescue team or the same bandits. But as they approach, holding a flag that says, Cloud Dragon Secure Delivery, the main character realizes they're the delivery team. He declares, finally we'll be saved, and all my patients will be too. We see a whole convoy of security personnel arrive at the scene, and he says, this team is truly unique. It looks like a huge joint medicine cabinet. It seems like I've read about these people somewhere. Then he remembers a novel and says, The Golden Dr. Baker's Medical Vegan, which is in that novel. We see that in his past life, while he's reading this novel, someone comes to him and says, Dr. Gene, are you wasting your time reading novels again? Gene replies, don't teach me how to pass my time. We see that the novel he's reading is the same one about the Supreme Demon King. Then the main character says, yes, this can't be a coincidence. I don't know, whatever it is. Then one of the rescue team members says, my lord, there's a survivor there, and the man, who is our man, is wondering if this is actually the real word from the novel. We see a man texting another man, check here, see all the survivors. Then suddenly, the man approaches Gene. Gene looks at him and says, this is too big. But then the man bows down to Gene and says, child, I am Lord Clown Dragon Secure Delivery. My name is Han. The man asks Gene, will you tell me your name? Gene replies, yes, my name is Gene. Gene thinks to himself, he's incredibly kind. He's incredibly kind, considering his appearance. Then the man says, your name is really cool, and it's amazing that you're so handy, even under these circumstances. Then he looks at the tent in front of him and asks, did you build this tent? The Jinn tells him, yes, it was a bit of work for me, but I built this tent to save all the injured people. As soon as the man hears to save the injured, he starts going inside the tent and sees 3 people lying inside. He quickly says, send a doctor here. There are a lot of intensive care patients here. Now, as soon as the Jinn hears godly doctor, he realizes, what godly doctor? No, that's not possible. According to the novel, the White Dragon Golden Doctor is one of the 3 heavenly doctors. He originated his nickname, Bacon, which means white dragon. His hair resembles the scales of a white dragon, and even though he's male, his beauty is truly exquisite. He's truly divine, and that's exactly what Gene sees. When he sees his face, he says, yes, as I read in the novel, this isn't just any Merum world, but it's actually a character from that novel, and this is the same white dragon. He says, I read the novel, The Supreme Demon King, shortly before I died, and the white dragon in it is a very important character. When Cloud Dragon Secure Delivery was attacked, it was the white dragon who saved him, and he also saved the main character of the story. After that, many things happened between the white dragon and the main character, due to which the main character became very godly, but ultimately, the white dragon died of disease. And the main character in the story, whom the white dragon had helped a lot, that main character is me at present. I am in that main character's body. And then we see the white dragon, and when he comes inside of the patient, he sees that the patient's stomach is already covered in stretch marks. He says that these stretch marks are finally crushing him. He takes out a medicine from his possession and applying it to his hand, says that this patient will recover very quickly. The man behind him asks the white dragon, how is his condition? Leader 1 is to go, is naming the patients and asking if they'll survive. Well, they'll survive, white dragon says. Yes, but I want to ask you something else. Then he asks, do you know who stitched them? The man points to Gene, and Gene says, yes, I did. Then white dragon says, this is really impressive. These people are still alive because of your proper treatment. Thank you so much for saving them. And in the background, all the people are there. They all say that the white dragon honored this child. Is he really that great? Who is this child? The white dragon tells him, you're truly amazing. You treated so many wounds so beautifully. Gene then tells him, I just wanted to save these people. The white dragon then says to himself, kids like him who think like this are truly rare. It's kind of impressive that the white dragon is very impressed. The older man then starts to leave, telling Gene, I left half my life here to take care of you all. He then leaves. Gene is reliving the flashback scene in his mind, thinking to himself, the Cloud Dragon Delivery Group owes me a lot. We learn that the elder man had told Gene, young brother, I promise I'll repay you for the favor you've done me. The scene ends here, and in the next scene, we see that some assistant or whatever, subordinate of our white dragon comes and says, Master, you've overworked yourself again. There was no need for you to travel so far. White dragon tells him, I had no other chance or option. I had to go with the Cloud Dragon team, and they kept me hidden until I was needed, and when I was needed, I saved those who needed saving, and because I had a huge debt with him, I had to repair it now that I've saved his brother. That debt has been repaired as well. Then his assistant tells him, "You're talking about the one known as Leader One." White Dragon says, "Yes, you're absolutely right. All the people who died on Aldo were truly unlucky, but the death of this family member would have been much different if we compare them. And because that family member, who was so important, survived, there's reason for happiness." Then the assistant says, "Now that you repaid your debt, that is, you repaid your favor, there's no need to worry." Then White Dragon tells him, "We don't need to care who does what to whom. All this is really too much nonsense." And then he tells him, "You are truly great." And then the man says, "This is really, really difficult. Controlling the 9 clouded absolute pulses. This is some ability or technique that the White Dragon possesses." And the White Dragon says, "Yes, I know, but we have no other choice. I have very little time left. I don't know how I've been living these past 40 years. I should have died 40 years ago, but I've survived so long." The assistant tells him, "I'm not sure what I'm doing." He says, "Don't say all this." Then the White Dragon says, "Now I need a disciple." The assistant is shocked and asks, "What, master?" He replies, "Yes, I know you worry about me a lot, but now that I have only a short time left, I need a disciple. I think the kid who rescued those people deserves to be my disciple." His assistant tells him, "No one can argue with you. You always get your way." Our scene ends here, and in the next scene we see Gene, his eyes wide open, and as he wakes up, he sees that he's in a strange place. As he looks ahead, we see the White Dragon appear before him with his entire team, and he asks, "Why did you get up so early? If you need more rest, you can." We see Gene looking around at everyone around him and saying, "All these people are looking at me." Then his gaze falls to the bed next to him. He sees the child he treated lying there. This child was one of the 3 people he saved, and he asks, "Are the other 2 people okay?" Then the White Dragon tells Gene, "This is a base for the Cloud Dragon Secure Delivery Service, and you were sleeping throughout the entire trip, so we let you rest." Gene looks at him and says to himself, "Wow, he looks even more like a celebrity." He says he's speaking so well. He speaks with such respect. It seems like he's very educated. White Dragon tells Gene, "If it weren't for your quick response and first aid treatment, no one there would have survived. But the survivors are only because of you. Although I've completely treated them now. But it wouldn't be wrong to say that you saved their lives." Jay says in his mind, "Wow, that's really a relief." White Dragon then tells him that no one has any significant side effects, and that the Cloud Secure Delivery Service, as well as the Noble Tribe, the tribe of the people you saved, are incredibly grateful, and they will definitely repay the favor you've done them. Gene then asks him, "What about the Noble Tribe?" White Dragon tells him, "Yes, did you know that one of the people you saved was a lady with a sword on her waist?" Gene says, "Yes, I remember. Someone attacked her waist with a sword." White Dragon explains that she is Novel Drive's daughter and has been working at Cloud Dragon Secure Delivery Service for a long time to train herself. And Gene is thinking to himself, the Novel Tribe is a clan that appears much later in the novel. If she's the daughter of a head of that Novel Tribe, it means I treated someone who needed to be treated. Gene says, "I didn't do anything, I just saved their life and did my duty." As he says this, he seemed a little sickly. The White Dragon's assistant tells him, "You need to be a little careful with Aram." He tells us that his name is General Yu, and he serves the White Dragon. He's his assistant. Gene then tells the White Dragon, "Based on whatever rough skills and limited knowledge I had, I helped as much as I could, and it's truly a great relief to know that I could be of use to someone." Everyone is shocked, saying he's just a child, and despite being a child, he speaks so many wonderful things, earning our Noble Tribe's gratitude. The White Dragon then opens a box in front of him and says, "I want to give you this internal medicine. The Noble Tribe sent this to you to express their gratitude." Everyone is shocked to see this. We see that inside it is a 100-year-old medicine ball. We learn that this medicine ball is made by cutting down a pine tree after it's grown for 100 years. It grows under very special conditions. The sap that comes out of its roots creates this medicine ball. This medicine ball is said to contain the life force of the 100-year-old pine tree. Gene is saying, everyone is so surprised to see this. This means that this must be something very amazing, and since the Novel Tribe sent this, everyone is bound to be surprised. Even if it isn't, the Novel Tribe should be very grateful because their prospect, the Black Dragon Sun Yong, has been sent by our Isin Gene. He saved him, and if Gene hadn't saved him, he would have died. The Noble Tribe can't believe at all that a little boy saved their hero's life, and that's why they're so grateful and respectful of him. Jay mutters to himself, "I don't know what's going on here, or what this medicine is, but at least if he tells me its name, I might be able to guess." Then the White Dragon comes to him and says, "This medicine is meant to heal your internal wounds and help with your headache. Your body is very tired, and because you've overexerted yourself, you're a little hurt, so it's best for you to take this medicine as soon as possible." Gene then starts taking the medicine and says, "I should take it. A patient should always listen to their doctor." Then Jane starts taking the medicine. As soon as he takes it, he says, "I feel a strange refreshment in my mouth. I feel so much better, and my head is feeling so much better." Then the assistant gives him something and says, "Take this too. It'll help you sleep." Then the White Dragon says, "You can all leave, let the patient rest." And all the other people who had come there start to leave. Then we see that only the White Dragon and his assistant are in the room. The assistant asks the White Dragon, "Do you still want to make him your disciple?" He says, "I don't know if anyone would refuse to become a disciple of the Great White Dragon, but even then I'm very worried." The White Dragon says, "Yes, I'm very worried too. I don't know why I feel like this guy will refuse to be my disciple. Still, I have to do some hard work to win him over." Then he takes out a needle and says, "This is what I have to do." His assistant asks, "Why are you using such a precious thing to make him your disciple?" We see the white dragon place a needle on his head, and an aura-like effect emanates from his head. His assistant, he's saying to himself, "I don't know how to take this, but since Master has chosen this man, I can't do anything." We then see Gene suddenly open his eyes a little while later and say, "I'm still in the same place." When he feels his body movements, he feels a different kind of strength come into his body, as if he'd become incredibly powerful. He says, "This is incredible strength." As he looks at himself fully, he sees that he's completely naked. He's not wearing any clothes. He suddenly exclaims, "What's going on here?" We see him thinking all this. Just then, the white dragon comes to him and says, "Finally, you're awake." Gene is thinking, was this white dragon watching over me all night? Usually, such care tasks are assigned to servants. But why is the white dragon so concerned with me? The white dragon tells him, "Surprisingly, your body hasn't accumulated that much chi." Gene then realizes that there's something sticky on his back, and he says that it's not a liquid, but a dried chunk of rubber. Then the white dragon tells him, "You're perfectly fine. Are you feeling any discomfort anywhere?" Gene wonders to himself, that's probably where the foul smell is coming from. Gene tells him, "No, it's not that bad, but my body feels very light." Gene then tells the white dragon, "Please talk to me casually. I'm feeling quite embarrassed by you speaking to me with so much respect." White dragon tells him, "Okay, I'll talk to you casually now." Gene then says, "Yes, that's fine." Gene then asks White Dragon, "What do you mean by QI?" He replies, "I felt like I was being treated for my internal wounds." White Dragon tells him, "Yes, in addition to your internal wounds, I also performed a bone restructuring procedure." He says, "That's the least we could do to prepare you for martial arts training." Gene is shocked to hear this and asks, "What bone restructuring procedure?" We learn that this bone restructuring procedure is a very high-level process in classic novels. It helps remove all toxins and impurities in the body. IT comes out through a combination of medical procedures and chi, and it's absolutely heavenly. Gene thinks to himself, this means my blood vessels have been cleansed. Then Gene thinks, but just a second, what did he say? He's going to teach me martial arts. After all, who didn't tell me to teach me martial arts? Then the white dragon tells him, now you should clean yourself up. Then the white dragon's assistant comes and gives Gene some clothes and tells him to clean himself up. He then starts picking him up like a baby. Gene thinks to himself, this is a broad restructuring procedure performed by the white dragon himself. This is a very godly doctor. So this means this isn't just any simple procedure like any other normal doctor. They've chosen me. But why did they choose me for something so pure? Then we see our own Gene taking the call, and we learn that this is a great call, the Cloud Dragon Secure Delivery Service, and their base is a very luxurious facility. Gene says that when they found out that I was their group savior, they gave me the most luxurious service. Then he realizes that he's experiencing a slight headache, and his assistant comes to him and offers him tea. Gene says that whenever they ask him about his family, his parents, or how he's affiliated with the group, he always makes a headache excuse because he has no other choice. And since he already has a wound in his head, the memory loss excuse is a great excuse. He can always use that excuse. And then the assistant starts to leave and says, sir, let me know when you need me. Jin is bathing there, thinking, I died in my past life because I was saving someone else's life. But that wouldn't be an exaggeration at this point, to say that because I saved someone in my past life, I've got a second life here and I'm able to live again. It's really so wonderful. If some animal or someone other than their backup team had found me, or someone had come there, I would probably be dead in this place by now. Then all the memories from his past come flooding back to him, and he says, all those memories are slowly popping up in my mind. That was a life where I was without my family, without my relatives. There was no one to love me there. That life was really a very miserable life. But at least I tried my best to live that life, even in the hardest possible way. But now how should I live my life here? He is telling that according to Yuhu, all the people who knew about this body, that is, his Karen body, all of them were killed. That means all the people in that entire convoy were killed, and all of them were going towards Saiho. Saiho is a mountain range, and he says that it might be there. Those demon forces live there. He says that it was mentioned many times in the book that the main character, Demon King Yuran, joins the demon forces and goes to Seijo, overcoming many hardships and challenges and developing himself. But I'm just a nameless extra who gets shot in the head and dies on the first page of the book. Furthermore, I'm an orphan, and no one has anything to do with my name. My entire life, I've always worked for others. I've always thought only about saving others' lives, about their families, but now I've had enough of that. Now, I finally deserve to have a family of my own. I'll live for myself, not for others at all. And the first thing I need for that is money. And because I'm currently in a marine world where human life is like that of flies, human life has no value here. So I'll have to increase my strength here. I'll be caught up in thousands of things that will be incredibly difficult for me. But even then, I'll have to protect myself. I'll have to make myself stronger. I can do it. He says, I've never had this much strength before. Neither did he have that much wealth. But I do have knowledge about what the future holds because he's read novels, so he must have that knowledge. But then he says, and not only that, the most important thing a doctor needs is that you need someone, because I'm a doctor. Everyone needs a doctor. No matter what the condition is, you'll definitely need a doctor at some point. Then Gene, dressed, comes in front of his assistant, who looks at him and wonders, is this the same kid? Then he says to Gene, Gene, you look really refreshed. Hot tea is ready for you in the tea room. So come, follow me. Then they both leave together, the assistant thinking to himself, he doesn't have any inner QI. Furthermore, more. His martial arts abilities are far worse than those of normal children. Yet, Master had said that his skills were highly efficient. But why can't I see those skills? If this child can truly become Master's disciple, Master's lifespan is already very short and will become even more limited. Seeing this child reminds me of my intern days. I used to be like that too. And then we see Gene brought to a nice place where Gene is being properly cared for. He's given all the food he needs, and he's saying there must be some reason for his care. Gene says, just now, when I think about it, I remember that in the entire novel, White Dragon has never performed a bone restructuring procedure on anyone. I'm the only one who's experienced this. Doesn't that mean it makes some sense? According to the novel, after this procedure, a different type of inner chi develops within you, and it consumes it. And since I received the bone restructuring procedure here, this will have significantly affected the lifespan of the White Dragon, as it takes a lot of effort to perform. This means it's difficult, and perhaps its lifespan has been reduced. But why is it doing all this for me? Why is it reducing its lifespan? It's because of this very act that it leads to its death in the very beginning of the first book of the novel. And sacrificing yourself for someone else isn't an easy task at all. He says, when I think about the novel's contents, I remember that this novel contains a lot of medical material. Besides, since I come from the real world, I have a lot of knowledge about modern medicine. So there must be some way I can treat it and prevent the White Dragon from dying, given its short lifespan. But no, I'll have to solve my own problem first. This, along with refreshments. And then he starts eating. He says these are QI dispersing poison biscuits. And this was a very smart move on the Demon Clan's part. They planted their spy and addicted the Cloud Dragon secure delivery service so that it could come and kill them. But I won't let their plan succeed. And then he says this and starts eating. Then, while he's eating, we see our White Dragon arrive. And with the White Dragon, someone else wearing a straw headdress. Seeing her, Gene says, she looks like a woman to me too. And then the woman bows to Gene and says, I offer you my sincere gratitude. I was told that if it weren't for you, our young one might not have survived today. You saved his life. And I, Novelimo, promise you that I will definitely rip this depth of yours. Gene thinks to himself, surely Gong Sun Han's younger sister, whatever her name is, has come here to express my gratitude. This type of Chinese woman has such strange names. Gene says, please don't worry about it. I'm so happy I was able to help someone. Then she says, as the godly doctor said, we are noble and our entire clan will never forget your kindness. Gene tells her that if anyone else had been there, they would have done the same. I just helped. It's nothing to brag about. Gene thinks to himself, how much are they embarrassing me? Then Gene tells him, you should meet your family. You shouldn't waste time talking to me. It's more important for you to be with your family right now. And then she says, yes, you're absolutely right. And then she leaves saying, I'll see you next time. Then our White Dragon is also watching all this. Jen tells us that Gong Sunyun is the only daughter born into the main family. She is seen as a huge disappointment because, compared to all the elders in the family, she has significantly less potential in swordsmanship and is also a sister who can't learn the family's secret techniques. Meanwhile, the other sister, Gong Sunyong, has already made a name for herself in the family and knows all the techniques. Despite this, there's a very good camaraderie between them, meaning there are no such problems. He says that according to the novel, Yong should have died here, and after his death, his sister would have become very angry, and she would have come to know that this was a complete plan of the elders of his main family, who wanted him dead, and because of this, she would have become very angry in the entire family. She would have slaughtered him like crazy. I mean, her entire family would have been devastated. But then Gene says, I prevented that event from happening because I saved his life, and I will continue to prevent more such things in the future. He then explains that if we go by the novel, approximately according to the prologue of the first book, the White Dragon treats a demon king, and in that very scene, an incident occurs where a conspiracy is hatched against him, and I must stop that conspiracy. Otherwise, the White Dragon could lose his life, and I could also lose my life. Then the older man says, you seem much better now. It seems you're even able to speak a little. But then Gene starts coughing again, making excuses. And then they're saying, oh, so what? You're still not well? He's coughing furiously. The man asks him, have you recovered yet? Gene tells him, the tea I just drank has made my throat feel very strange. Then the White Dragon appears. Gene says, I can't lie to him at all. He's a godly human and has martial arts skills. He'll catch my lie easily. Then Gene says, for some reason, I'm having a strange pain in my throat. It's itchy and it started after drinking that tea. Then the White Dragon asks, should I check your pearls? When Gene gets his pearls checked, the White Dragon reacts strangely. Then the White Dragon does something to Jin's body, and Gene feels quite good. He says, I don't know what chi or inner chi is, but whatever they're doing, I feel very good, and it feels like something very soft is happening in my body. Then the White Dragon says, your inner chi has dispersed. Everyone asks, what inner chi? The elder man says, it's impossible for this child to learn martial arts right now. So, how did this inner chi come into Jin's body? The White Dragon explains, the medicine ball sent by the noble clan generated a small amount of inner chi within Gene when I performed the procedure. It wasn't a great amount, but despite that, some inner chi developed within Gene, and simply, I built a foundation of QI within it so I could prepare for the future. We are then shown that the man asks his White Dragon if it's possible for a child who has never been taught martial arts before to absorb this type of medicine. His White Dragon doesn't tell him anything, and tells him in his mind that if he says anything to him now, or makes any statement anywhere, things will go very wrong, that she'll be gone soon, and my house will be surrounded. People will surround her, wanting to have the same procedure done with their children. So I won't release the details right now. But then he tells the man, I highly recommend Cloud Dragon Secure Delivery Service, and I guarantee I'll teach this martial art to your grandson. Then the man says, yes, your medical skills are truly amazing. Meanwhile, Gene praises him for being so good. He cares about everyone, and even worries about the leader's grandson. He's truly a righteous doctor. Then the white dragon looks at the biscuits and tea and says, this is a reason for the inner chi being dispersed. He says, it seems like a chi dispersing poison has been added to it. The leader asks, what poison? Who could have poisoned it? That too in a child's food. This child is our savior, and I will not spare whoever did this to him. The white dragon says, the important thing we must do now is to figure out why they did this. The refreshment served to this child has been laced with poison, and it's the same refreshment served to our superiors and all our elite warriors. The leader says, oh, then this means someone is targeting our group. The white dragon then orders that all the tea and biscuits be thrown away immediately and all your men be deployed. There's a high chance of an invasion here. The leader says, an invasion might happen here, it won't end, because if the camp has been poisoned, then there's definitely a huge conspiracy going on here. The leader then says, I'm sorry, I can't allow you to interfere in our affairs. Then he calls a manager from there. Then the white dragon comes to Gene and asks him, did you know that the food you're eating contained a chi dispersing poison? Gene asks him, why is it a chi dispersing poison? He's thinking to himself, a poison that scatters chi. It's colorless and completely odorless. He says, I couldn't tell him I knew about it, so I had no choice but to eat it. If I hadn't eaten it, the team probably wouldn't have known about it. Therefore, it was very important for me to be affected by it. Another reason he took it was that it didn't require the development of antibodies, so he had to conduct similar experiments to achieve even greater medicinal effectiveness. This was his reason for defeating it. The white dragon is also saying that even this poison, it only disperses it. But even then, there's no reason to believe the child would have taken it intentionally. Then, White Dragon happily tells him that if, after investigating, we find anything that could lead to the Cloud Dragons finding something, no one will be spared. White Dragon is saying to himself, I don't feel comfortable putting so much pressure on this little child. Then, White Dragon tells him, let's sit down and have a little chat until this all blows over. Gene is saying to himself, this is a great opportunity for me. I can gain a lot of money from this opportunity. I want money. I want money and only money. This QI. Martial arts are no use to me. All I need here is money, and I'm alone in this strange place. And if I'm going to survive here, it's only with money. Then Gene tells everyone, I don't know who I am, where I'm from, or who my family is, but I'm so happy that a pathetic person like me is able to help people here. Hearing his grand speech, everyone is shocked, wondering how this little kid can say such good things. Gene thinks to himself, perhaps I'm making a better impact on them. Then the leader says, it's okay, don't worry. I'm the leader of this delivery system, whatever it's called, but you are its savior. You saved this place, so I'll do my best to ensure you don't feel disappointed at all. But then the white dragon puts his hand on his shoulder and says, no. The leader tells him, I know. Doctor, you performed a bone reconstruction procedure on him. But the white dragon interrupts him, saying, no, there's nothing like that. The leader, unsure what the white dragon is refusing, ends the scene. In the next scene, we're shown a group of assassins, our security personnel, advancing toward their base at night, and there are a lot of them. One of the assassins forgets that it's incredibly quiet. It seems these people have taken sleeping pills along with the chi dispersing poison. Are all the agents in our position? We learn that these people make some noise with their mouths, and this sound is a sound sequence that cannot be detected by those without inner QI. These assassins are advancing in this direction, but then they see their leader standing there, shouting orders to all his soldiers to kill all these assassins. We see that these people are fully prepared, and all their soldiers move forward to attack the assassins. The assassins are completely shocked and ask, how did this happen? And then one of the assassins, the kind of leader of the assassins, comes and places his sword on his shoulder and says, your game is over now. The main assassin asks, how did you know about us? The leader tells him that the godly doctor is with us right now in our company. Do you really think you can poison our clan with the doctor around? He then asks him to calmly tell him who sent him here. The assassin, he says, white dragon, godly doctor. This was really unexpected. And now I'll tell you who sent me. But then he makes a move with his foot and starts jumping away. Our leader says, what a cheap trick you've used. Then he uses one of his techniques, the yellow aperture sort technique. We see our leader and the assassin face each other on a rooftop, and their fight begins. The assassin attacks the leader, and the leader defends his attack. They both strike each other with their swords, and there's a very powerful explosion. Now, the leader sees that this assassin has used vampire ghost swordsmanship and says, this means you're from the demon realm. Then they use a variety of their own techniques, like their flying blood technique. Then the leader uses their correction technique, or wordly collection, or whatever the hell they call it. The leader says to himself, as I expected, this is what I expected from a vampiric ghost blade, a demonic blade that sucks blood. The leader says, I don't care who you are, whether you're part of a demonic force or have your own purpose, but my job is to protect my people. And now the assassin thinks he suddenly found an opening on the leader, and as he approaches him, he tells him, I'm faster than you, and now you'll have to die here. But at that moment, the leader uses one of his techniques, and suddenly launches a full-on attack on the assassin. The leader has a slight cut on his cheek, and he attacks the assassin with his sword. sword. The assassin says his sword style is really fast. And then we see the leader knock him down and order everyone to capture all the enemies. We see Jean secretly watching all this from a room, saying, "Finally, this thing has started. A war has begun here." Jean then comes in and walks toward the child he saved that day and says, "This child hasn't woken up yet, but what will happen to his life?" Looking back on that life, I wish it never happened. We learn from Jin that all the assassins who came here, they've all come to kill this child. And Jean says, "It's really fascinating that all those people have come to kill you." Jean says, "The entire world is after this child's life, and the Cloud Dragon Secure Delivery Service is incredibly strong in itself. Even if I hadn't told them, they would have found out anyway, and somehow they would have been able to handle this situation. But maybe in that situation, there would have been more bloodshed and more people would have died. But I prevented that from happening because the Secure Dragon Delivery Service is currently facing so many attacks. Many different delivery services will fight to replace it, and this will cause massive calamities in the world." Jean is still thinking about all this when suddenly he looks at the child. The child starts screaming something strange. Jean looks at him, wondering what's making him scream so strangely. Should I wake him up? No. Even if I don't, it won't do any good because he's not going to wake up. And from what I can see, from what I can feel, this isn't a nightmare. Something has happened to him. Is it because of the smell of blood coming from outside? Jean then burns something sand-like there and says, "I don't know what the scent is, but I'll try to make whatever scent is coming from outside bypass him and prevent the blood sand from reaching this child's nose." Jean looks at him and says, "Finally, he's calmed down a bit." We learn that this child is the main character, and Jean says that despite being the main character, because I save him, he has a deep connection with me and is on my good side. Jean then sits down and says, "People are dying outside, and I'm finally gonna get a good night's sleep, but it seems I won't be able to sleep that day because I'll have to stay up all night because of all the violence." Suddenly, he realizes that it's completely quiet outside and asks, "Has the situation outside resolved?" All the noises have stopped, and the smell of blood has also stopped. We see a team of doctors arrive and tell him to hurry. Go there, see all the injured and all the patients. Jean sees that the fight is finally over and says that many events have changed. The events in the original novel are very different from the ones in the original. A lot of people died there, but now there are very few casualties, and the Cloud Dragon Secure Delivery Group is safe, and its base is also completely safe. It's a good thing that I prevented a catastrophic event from happening. But what should I do now? Should I spectate or not? I should also contribute something. I have to choose between these two things. He says that if I just spectate, my skills will never be revealed to public, and this is a much safer choice. But already, many people have started raising questions about my first aid treatments and have a lot of queries about me. If I start putting some of my efforts here and try to help, I will be able to save many people, and it will be better for me. But the only problem is that I might put my safety at risk. My medical procedures are very otherworldly and too strange for this world. There's a high chance that people will misunderstand them and think I am a spy, but still I will do it. For now, I will stay here for a while, and then I will leave and work only for Cloud Dragon Secure Delivery Systems. In this world, I will live like a doctor and spend my entire life like this. I will earn money for myself, and I will save many lives." And he is thinking about his past life of the child he saved before dying. I wish that child could survive. And he is thinking that now I am having many thoughts about why did I go to die for those children? Why did I sacrifice my life? And in this same world, I could have left those people in the mountain and gone away. But why did I save their lives? And while he is thinking all this,